Story 1. It was back in the summer of 2012, in a quiet suburb of Chicago, Illinois. Think those tree-lined streets in Naperville, where families with money live in big houses that feel a little too isolated after dark. This story comes from a guy named Mike, a former cop who heard it firsthand from the babysitter involved. She was a 22-year-old college student named Sarah, working odd jobs to pay for tuition at Northwestern. One evening she got a gig watching two kids for a wealthy couple, the Harrisons, who were heading out to a charity gala downtown. The house was massive, a colonial-style place on a cul-de-sac with high ceilings and too many rooms to feel cozy. Sarah arrived around 7 p.m., met the parents, Mr. Harrison, a stern investment banker in his 40s, and his wife, elegant but distant. The kids were polite, a boy of 8 and a girl of 6, and they showed her around before bedtime. That's when Sarah first noticed it. In the corner of the living room, partially hidden behind a floor lamp, stood a life-sized clown statue. It was creepy as hell. Faded red wig, smeared white face paint, oversized shoes, the whole deal. She asked the kids about it and they just shrugged, saying it was Dad's thing from some auction. Mr. Harrison overheard and chuckled. "Family heirloom," he said. "Don't mind it, it's harmless." The parents left and Sarah settled in. She put the kids to bed upstairs, then came down to watch TV in the den. But that clown, it kept drawing her eye. The way the light hit it made the eyes seem to follow her. She tried ignoring it, flipping channels to some late-night news about a string of home invasions in the area. Nothing major, just burglars targeting empty houses. Around 10 p.m. her phone rang. A known number. She answered and a raspy voice whispered, "Check the children." Click. Prank call, she figured. Kids these days. But it unnerved her. She went upstairs. Kids were fine, sleeping soundly. Back downstairs, she moved the lamp to block the clown better, but now it looked even weirder in the shadows. Another call, same voice. "The clown is watching." Her heart skipped. She texted a friend, laughed it off as paranoia, but couldn't shake it. By 11:30 she'd had enough. She called Mr. Harrison. "Sorry to bother you," she said, "but that clown statue in the living room is freaking me out. Can I cover it with a blanket or move it to the garage?" There was a long pause. Then Mr. Harrison's voice, tight with panic. "What clown statue? We don't own anything like that. Get the kids and get out of the house, now. We're calling the police." Sarah's blood ran cold. She bolted upstairs, grabbed the kids, who were groggy and confused, and ran out the front door barefoot into the night. Police arrived minutes later. They searched the house and found nothing. No statue. But in the attic, they discovered fresh footprints in the dust, a discarded red wig and a duffel bag with zip ties, duct tape, and a kitchen knife from the Harrisons' own set. Turns out it wasn't a statue at all. It was a man, later identified as Ronnie Keller, a 45-year-old drifter with a rap sheet for breaking and entering. He'd been squatting in abandoned homes around Naperville for weeks, disguising himself as part of the decor to scout targets. That night, he'd slipped in through an unlocked basement window while the family was out earlier. The calls? From a burner phone he ditched in a neighbor's trash. Ronnie had a thing for clowns. Old carnival worker, they said. He was arrested 2 days later at a motel off I-88, still in makeup remnants. Sarah quit babysitting after that. The Harrisons moved shortly after. And Mike? He tells this story at bars to remind guys like us. Lock your doors, check your attics, and trust your gut. Because sometimes the scariest things aren't monsters. They're just people hiding in plain sight. Story 2. In the upscale Aero Club neighborhood of Wellington, Florida, where million-dollar homes come with private airstrips and the air smells like fresh-cut grass and old money, May 26, 1990, started like any other Saturday morning. This one straight from Joe Aarons, Marlene Warren's oldest son, now a 55-year-old contractor who spent half his life chasing shadows. He was 21 back then, crashing at the family house on Arrow Drive with a couple buddies after a late night. Marlene, 40 and full of life, was in the kitchen whipping up breakfast, pancakes, bacon, the works, while her teenage son from her first marriage lounged in the living room. She managed their rental properties, a tidy empire worth $1 million, while her husband Michael ran Bargain Motors, a used car lot on North Dixie Highway in West Palm Beach. They had their issues, sure, whispers of Michael's wandering eye, but Marlene loved clowns. Kept porcelain ones on the shelves, the kind that made you smile. Around 10:45 a.m., a knock echoed through the foyer. Joe heard his mom laugh from the entryway. "Oh, how sweet." He glanced up just in time to see her open the door. There stood a figure straight out of a kid's party gone wrong. Bulbous red nose, orange wig frizzed out like a bad perm, white face paint smeared just enough to look off. In one hand, a bouquet of red and white carnations. In the other, 2 balloons, one with Snow White's face beaming like it was mocking the whole scene. The clown handed over the flowers. Marlene turned to call out to her younger son. That's when it happened. A single shot, boom, point blank to the face. Marlene crumpled, blood pooling on the tile. The clown locked eyes with Joe for a split second. Big brown eyes, cold as desert sand, then bolted. Joe and his brother chased it outside, watching the figure hop into a white Chrysler LeBaron convertible and peel out, tires screeching toward the highway. Marlene clung to life for 2 days at Wellington Regional Medical Center. Doctors fought, but the bullet had done its work. She died on May 28, leaving behind a family shattered and a town that suddenly felt anything but safe. Cops swarmed the scene, but the LeBaron vanished like smoke. Witnesses remembered seeing a similar car parked outside a Publix on Forest Hill Boulevard earlier that morning, orange fibers snagged on the seat like a taunt. Suspicion landed hard on Michael Warren. He'd been at a horse race in Ocala that day, alibi checked out, but the marriage was fraying. Marlene held the purse strings on those rentals. Her life insurance payout topped 5 figures, enough to clear debts and start fresh. And then there was Sheila Keene, 19, a bubbly waitress at the dealership's lounge. Michael had been spotted with her too often, late nights at the office turning into something more. Cops traced the flowers and balloons to a Metro Market near Sheila's apartment in Lake Worth. A clerk at a costume shop off Okeechobee Boulevard picked her from a lineup. Yeah, that's the one who bought the clown getup that morning. Silver wig, full kit, paid cash. Orange hairs from the wig matched fibers in the LeBaron, found abandoned 8 miles away in a church lot. But no gun, no prints, no slam dunk. Prosecutors in 90 called it circumstantial, too thin for charges. Michael and Sheila denied everything and the case went cold, a ghost in the files. Years dragged. Michael sold the lot, married Sheila in 95. They moved to Ohio, ran a bar, lived quiet. Joe. He buried his mom next to his little brother, who OD'd from the grief years later, and kept the pressure on detectives. I saw those eyes, he'd tell anyone who'd listen. Big and brown. They haunted me. In 2013, cold case investigator Scott Dressel got a hunch. He dusted off evidence bags, found a single hair on Marlene's blouse, 6 inches long, root intact. Back then DNA tech couldn't touch it. Now, mitochondrial match to Sheila Keene Warren. Add the fibers, the receipts, the clerk's faded memory, it stuck. In October 2017, after extradition fights, Sheila was arrested at 46. Michael. Still never charged, but Joe cut ties. He chose her over us, Joe said in a 2023 interview. Trial loomed in 2023, first-degree murder, death penalty on the table. But on April 25 in Palm Beach County Courthouse, Sheila, now 59, copped to second degree. No trial, just a plea, 12 years with credit for time served. She walked out of Lowell Correctional in November 2024 after 17 months, the killer clown free at 61. State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg called it justice. She'll wear that stain forever. Joe watched via Zoom, finally exhaling after 33 years. I never thought I'd see guilty, he told 2020. But peace? That's harder. He still drives by the old house sometimes, wonders about those brown eyes. Guys, if you're in Wellington on a sunny morning, flowers at the door might just be a neighbor. But trust your gut. Lock it, check it, because some deliveries come with a smile that kills. And remember, clowns aren't always funny. Story 3. Under the blood-red sunset that painted the sky of southern France, October 2014 marked a dark chapter in the history of Agde, a Mediterranean port town. A strange, almost surreal fear gripped the narrow cobblestone streets, where maniacal laughter echoed through the shadows. It wasn't ghosts or monsters but clowns, figures clad in garish costumes, their faces smeared with white and red paint, twisted into grotesque smiles, that sowed terror among the townsfolk. The nightmare began on a foggy night when eerie silhouettes emerged from the dark alleys of Agde. A group of 14 teenagers, armed with knives, pistols and baseball bats, was apprehended by police as they chased locals through the streets. They wore vibrant clown costumes, their faces hidden behind layers of makeup, their eyes glinting like black voids beneath the masks. Their laughter wasn't the joyful sound of festivities but a chilling, otherworldly cackle that seemed to rise from a nightmare. The people of Agde, accustomed to tranquil evenings by the sea, now huddled in fear at the reports of these menacing clowns. Some witnesses claimed they saw shadowy figures standing motionless under streetlights, staring silently as if waiting for something even more horrific to unfold. At the same time, in the nearby city of Montpellier, an even more terrifying incident unfolded. A 35-year-old man walking home after a long day's work was suddenly attacked by a clown wielding an iron bar. Under the pale glow of the moon, the clown emerged from a street corner, its eyes gleaming behind the mask, its painted smile twisted into something sinister. The man barely had time to scream before the bar came crashing down, leaving him crumpled on the sidewalk, blood pooling around him. The police swiftly arrested the culprit, but the attack ignited a wave of panic throughout the community. Further east, in Besançon, a young student faced a living nightmare. In a dimly lit alley, a clown brandishing a gleaming axe lunged toward him. In a frantic attempt to defend himself, the student raised his hand, but the blade sliced through, leaving a deep gash. Blood sprayed as the clown's deranged laughter filled the air, as though it relished every moment of the terror it inflicted. The student survived, but the memory of that night haunted him for months afterward. The fear didn't stop there. In Leuven, a group of 4 fake clowns appeared outside a school, brandishing a roaring chainsaw. The young students, used to peaceful school days, fled in panic at the sound of the chainsaw and the sight of the garish clown costumes flashing through the darkness. Some children broke into tears while others froze, paralyzed by fear. Teachers hurriedly locked the school doors, turning classrooms into temporary fortresses to shield the students from this bizarre threat. The chaos spread so widely that a town in southern France, unable to bear the pressure of these relentless incidents, issued a ban on clown costumes in November 2014. Though it sounded absurd, the ban was a testament to the severity of the situation. Clowns, once symbols of joy and laughter, had become embodiments of fear, lurking in the shadows, ready to strike anyone who crossed their path. French police quickly traced the source of this clown hysteria. A national police spokesperson stated, "Since mid-October, a rumor inspired by videos online has led to the presence of threatening and aggressive clowns across France." The culprit, it turned out, was a YouTube channel called DM Pranks, run by an Italian duo. The channel had gone viral with its Killer Clown Scare Prank series in 2014. In the videos, the pair dressed as menacing clowns, chasing unsuspecting pedestrians with giant mallets, chainsaws and even knives, capturing their terrified reactions. With over 527 million combined views, these videos were no mere harmless prank. They had sparked a global wave of copycat incidents, from Wasco in California to Northampton in England and now the small towns of France. In Bethune, a 19-year-old was arrested while dressed as a clown and terrorizing locals. Before the judge, he pleaded, "At first it was a joke. I wanted to scare my friends by dressing as a clown and shouting, 'Boo,' with a stick like what I saw on Facebook. I didn't intend to hurt anyone." But his excuses did little to quell the fear he and other copycats had unleashed. The viral videos on social media, combined with mob mentality and the frenzy of the internet, had turned a prank into a collective nightmare. Under the night sky of southern France, the flickering streetlights cast eerie shadows on the deserted streets. Somewhere in the darkness, the laughter of a clown still echoed, a chilling reminder that sometimes, the most terrifying things don't come from monsters or ghosts but from humans hiding behind masks. The clown panic of 2014 wasn't just a social phenomenon. It was a warning of the power of media and the ease with which fear can spread, like wildfire consuming everything in its path. Story 4. In the eerie stillness beneath a ghostly October moon in 2014, the quiet streets of Wasco and Bakersfield, California, usually filled with nothing but the howl of desert winds and the occasional hum of passing cars, were now cloaked in an invisible dread. It wasn't common criminals who brought this terror, but clowns, ghastly figures with chalk-white faces, twisted painted smiles, and eyes glinting like black voids behind their garish makeup. They didn't come to spread laughter, they came to sow fear, lurking in the shadows of suburban neighborhoods with weapons clutched in their hands. The horror began with what seemed like an innocent art project. A couple in Wasco, intending to create a year-long photography series, captured images of themselves dressed in unsettling clown costumes. The photos, depicting eerie clowns standing motionless under flickering streetlights or skulking behind withered desert shrubs, were posted on social media. They spread like wildfire, garnering thousands of shares and comments overnight. But instead of sparking curiosity, they ignited a terrifying wave of imitation. Copycats emerged everywhere, turning the artistic endeavor into a deadly game. Beneath the pitch-black night sky, maniacal laughter echoed from darkened alleys, forcing residents to cower indoors, too afraid to step outside after dusk. "We've been having sightings all over the city," Lieutenant Jason Matson, watch commander of the Bakersfield Police Department, told Reuters at the time, his voice tinged with the strain of relentless reports. "They range anywhere from a guy carrying a gun to a guy carrying a knife running up to houses." His words were no exaggeration. Witnesses recounted nights of terror. A single mother in Wasco woke to frantic knocking, only to peer through her door's peephole and see a clown standing on her porch, a gun gleaming under the moonlight, its painted smile looking like a deep, jagged wound. In Bakersfield, a group of teens strolling home from a party was suddenly chased by a clown wielding a knife, its laughter mingling with the howling wind as they scattered into roadside bushes, hearts pounding like they might burst. One teenager was arrested for chasing a younger minor while dressed as a clown, leaving the victim collapsed in a panic on the street. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Countless others roamed free, vanishing into the night, biding their time for the next opportunity. Social media at the time buzzed with activity. Twitter and Instagram accounts, including a Facebook fan page, posted images claiming to be the creepy clowns. Blurry photos set against empty streets or neon-lit corners, showing smeared makeup and menacing grins. Most of those accounts have since been deleted, erased as if they never existed, except for one lone profile that lingers like a ghostly remnant of the nightmare. The terror wasn't confined to California. Thousands of miles away in Northampton, England in 2013, a similar ordeal had already plunged the town into fear. Under the cold drizzle of an English autumn, a clown eerily resembling Stephen King's Pennywise began haunting the streets. Its face was ghostly white, crowned with a mop of tangled red hair, its toothy grin sharp and menacing. It stood motionless under ancient oaks or appeared suddenly from damp alleys, startling passers-by into screams. The town of Northampton, with its quaint old houses and lush green parks, became deserted after sunset. Locals whispered of the ghostly clown, and children stopped playing outside, terrified of being dragged into the darkness. The clown gave an anonymous interview to the Chronicle and Echo in September 2013, its voice crackling over the phone as if coming from some distant, otherworldly place. "Most people enjoy being a bit freaked out," he said, later revealed to be an aspiring filmmaker with ambitious dreams. "And then they can laugh about it afterwards." But his words did little to soothe the terror he'd unleashed. Witnesses described staring into his eyes and feeling as though they were being pulled into an endless abyss, where only deranged laughter and suffocating darkness reigned. Beneath the biting autumn winds, the laughter of those clowns still echoes in the memories of Wasco, Bakersfield, and Northampton residents. The creepy clown craze wasn't just a fleeting social phenomenon, it was proof of social media's power to turn a prank into a collective nightmare, blurring the line between art and horror. Somewhere in the shadows, a clown might still be waiting, its twisted smile ready to greet the next unwitting victim.